tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, episode 49. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And I am Cody.
And Cody, you're becoming a perennial...
You're almost a
Eminent Waste of
regular.
Time. You are.
Am I like, do I have more podcasts than Steve does at this time?
Yeah, Steve's got two. We did the one with him and the one at...
Well, he's in one at Brimstone, so you guys are even up right now.
Tied. Steve,
Yeah.
you're going down.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I got to find something cool to be talked about next time. So
Mainly because you're slightly closer. And we're lazy about driving. No. So we are here at CW Motorsports.
The headquarters.
The world headquarters.
Yes.
where it all happens.
This is the international headquarters, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, we definitely do ship internationally. So
Oh,
yes,
yeah, I didn't
this
think
is
about
true.
that.
So
It's like being an international airport if you have one flight to Canada, technically.
that's exactly right.
So where's the farthest you shipped apart?
I would have to ask Allie that for sure, but I know for sure that we've sent stuff to Canada, Alaska, and then some stuff overseas. I want to say Germany. There's a few things in Germany.
Oh,
I
nice.
know there's been a few things to Iraq because I kind of joke about it when it goes there. So
How could you not?
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of interesting when you start sending stuff overseas.
It is. It's very unique, and it's funny the amount of time people's willing to wait on a part. It's like there's nothing closer to you that has this.
Can't you go to a local dealership and get that or something?
When it went to Europe, it took I think over 20 days to get there.
Wow.
And then whenever you're packaging it, you're like, how well can I possibly package this thing? Because it's going to be handled. I know what it goes like when it goes from here to Texas and
Right.
shows up destroyed.
Yeah, what's it going to be like when it gets overseas?
Yes, it needs to be like bubble wrap this big around. And
Well,
Yeah.
there might be somewhere closer, but when they want the best, they know they're coming here.
Yep.
So we're here. The last episode was with Kevin Spangler, and we're trying to get out to basically give you guys some insight into our sponsors, and we thought it'd be interesting to do some on-site stuff. Chad and I were talking on the way here that, you know, Skype's kind of a neat invention, but it's really hard to talk to people because there's that little bit of a delay. And when you make a joke or you say something, it's kind of you wait for it to register and then come back, and you get these awkward pauses where you're staring at each other, wondering who's going to talk.
And then you got to keep your fingers crossed that all the technology is going to work correctly.
Exactly. So this way we get, for one, we want to see the operation. You know, we're curious as well. And this way we get kind of a more face-to-face, and it makes us look like we're doing stuff and we're busy.
Well, we're busy. I can tell you that we are busy.
We're doing stuff.
Always doing something.
That is for sure. And yeah, so we find ourselves out here. We got to plan out the next one. But man, just thanks for taking the time on a Sunday afternoon to come out and basically
pleasure.
I
was actually really excited when I heard you guys were coming. So
Yeah.
it's neat. Definitely. I think what you guys do is phenomenal. I love it. We were just talking earlier how you think it's people look at you as news, and I do. I'm one of those guys. I'm like, quit talking about silly stuff. Let's get to the point, you know.
And we started this whole thing with the name Waste of Time, thinking there was no point.
Yeah.
Are we going to have to retitle this at some point, or are we
No,
stuck?
we're stuck with it.
Okay.
We're going on.
Chad did tell me if I ever tried to change a name, he'd fight me. And given your history, I'm
You don't
not
wanna
at
fight
all
me.
interested.
No, you don't want to fight me.
Think honey badger.
So, Cody, why don't you tell everybody kind of what you guys do here, the basics, and then we'll kind of get into some more details as we go.
So CW Motorsports, I always kind of joke, it's like 5 businesses under one roof. So we do parts, service, and accessories, you know, kind of like a small dealership. We don't have any franchise, but we do all makes and models, you know, anything from like an oil change on a scooter to a major engine overhaul on, you know, a full-blown street bike or side-by-side or whatever. We do a lot of accessory installs on side-by-sides. You know, where guys will buy a brand new machine from a dealer, drop them off here. Sometimes even the dealer will drop them off here. And then, you know, with this laundry list of accessories, you know, thousands and tens of thousands of dollars sometimes of accessories on one machine, brand new out of the box. Along with that, we do the salvage side of things. We do a lot of Polaris Razor, mainly Razor parts. We do some general stuff. We do some Ranger stuff, but mainly Polaris Razor salvage parts as far as, you know, breaking AR and we have a used one kind of thing.
How much salvage can you do off a vehicle that's completely burnt to the ground? Oh, sorry.
We don't do burn. We have had a couple burn machines, but burn machines are messy. They are nasty.
Yeah.
And honestly,
We're never going to get sponsored.
when It's funny you say that. I've got a really nice carbon fiber wrapped fire extinguisher that's going on my razor, and I was like,
Perfect.
I spent a lot of money on this fire extinguisher to be like completely carbon fiber wrapped. I didn't want it to look like some ugly red fire extinguisher. I wanted it to look neat, but yeah, you got to have that. It's for your buddy. It's not for you. It's for your buddy.
Exactly. But I have seen you've got an impressive, parts setup out there. A lot of different stuff that you parted out. But one toy you've got back there that was really cool. You just showed us before the show started, where you can basically take a part and almost make it look like new.
Yeah, there's a new technology out called vapor blasting. It actually uses like really high pressure water to clean aluminum, and what it does is it takes that nasty mud stain out of aluminum and essentially gets it down to the original aluminum that's there and cleans out all the pores and makes it look like a brand new piece,
Right.
So what we're able to do with that is not only can we make sure we're selling a better part, because mud and grease and grime and dirt hides stuff, hides cracks,
Right.
hides, a thread that's messed up, or
Sure.
a spindle that has a messed up thread in it. We can see all that now by cleaning it, and then also allows the customer to get a used part that essentially looks brand new. I would really challenge some of the stuff after it's being cleaned. If you cannot see literally where there's like a rub mark on it, sometimes you can't tell if it's new or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to make that statement, but you hit it already. You're not cleaning it to try and make it look new and sell it as a new part. You're trying to show the customer this is exactly what you're getting, so so that there's no horrible surprises that they get it and a thread's messed up or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the biggest things with this and sometimes people will choose a used part over a new part for pure time's sake. They call the dealership and no, we don't have it. From Polaris, parts are 2 to 3 days, no matter what, no matter where you're at. That's just Polaris shipping time. And if I have one on the shelf and I can next day, we'll do that. And people will sometimes buy them just because they can have them faster. And we all know, we all ride. Nobody wants to miss a ride. Nobody wants to miss a race at all cost.
And everybody needs parts.
Yes, exactly.
Especially if you
right.
race, you're going to need parts.
I can recall a Pacific Time last year. I broke my transmission on my Razor down in Tennessee, and I had to ride the very next weekend, and I paid Premier dollar for pieces and parts so I could fix it that week because I did not want to miss the next weekend. Oh,
I've done it with races and everything else. I will pay that overnight shipping.
Yes.
And it's just how it is. But and you get a good customer base built up here from treating people right and everything else. They'll come back and they know to come to you then. So maybe they don't go searching that dealership that they know is going to be a 2 to 3 day lead time.
Yeah, and my whole thing from day one is I always wanted to be the go-to guy. No matter what it is, if it's a lug nut or if it's needing an engine or even needing a vise, like I want to be the go-to place, and I really try to do my absolute best I can to do that. And I feel we've done a really good job with that in the past, is to be the first phone call, to be the first message or the first email. They're checking us first.
I see that a lot on Facebook. Guy will be in Razors of Illinois or one of the other big groups like that, and someone, hey, does anybody have these? And the first answer is almost always, check with Cody. He's probably got 10 of them laying around there somewhere.
Yeah, and we do, and it's unfortunate all my keys go in the warehouse today because I could really kind of wow you guys a little bit. We got a 6,500 square foot warehouse, and it is full of used razor parts, pallet racking, shelved, and just full of razor parts, and that's what it is. And the Facebook is great. It's absolutely phenomenal. And thanks for anyone who's ever tagged or commented or anything on there for me. But it is a full-time job to keep up with.
Oh, I'm sure you probably
really
get quite
is.
annoyed with me because I'm up late and I get up really early, and you probably get tagged by me like 6 or 8 times in the middle of the night.
I love it, though. The guys that do it, I love it. And it just, and the guys that are patient, most people are patient, but it takes a little bit to go through it because, I'll get tagged in 20, 30 things a day. Sometimes on a busy weekend, it's 100 items and you can't hardly process through it,
Right.
If you shoot me a message, I will respond. I'll get back to you.
That's become such a hugely valuable resource, though. Facebook is providing this for free, and it's been a great way for people to connect with parts they need and with, it's not just parts. Honestly, a ton about these machines. You know them through and through. So just even questions.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I actually just recently, and a few months ago, hired a girl to literally help me manage Facebook. That's her sole job in the shop is to manage Facebook, to keep an eye on the messages and to, help somebody that she can help that doesn't necessarily need a technical advice or a tip or so on and so forth. And she does great, and it has really helped us.
You should have hired Chad. I'm telling you what, dude, I can't beat him out. I don't care if it was just posted like 3 seconds ago. By the time I've hit the enter key, he's already commented twice.
I have fast internet where I work, and my job allows me to just be able to keep it open. So
He has one of those knowing where to tap jobs where it's like, it's not necessarily time consuming, but you have to know exactly what to do.
and if you do it wrong, an entire university goes down. They don't like that.
They're picky.
Yeah.
Chad must be looking at razor parts today. That university is shut down.
But it's for a good cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do the used stuff, and you do the service on everything.
Everything. Yeah, we work on everything. Unless if it's a name brand, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Polaris, as long as it's not China, Hong Kong scooters and
I was going to
Rural
say,
King
if
ATVs.
you did CF Moto, we could have kept you afloat last year.
Yeah, I bought so many parts it wasn't even funny.
We do some CF Moto's actually coming a long way from where they're at. And we do work on some of the stuff, but in the other stuff, it's not like it's a knowledge thing or it's tough, but it's a parts availability thing.
Yeah,
It's impossible to get
it's hard
parts
to get
for.
parts. I get that.
And most of the time, you can't find and reclaim and clean up a used part for cheaper than they can just get it thrown on a boat and get it over here.
You're exactly right.
So you do all that, but you also do the back half cages.
Yes, that is correct. We do the low pro rear cages. It is huge.
I see one over there.
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
They're
right here.
scattered everywhere. They're
There's
like
actually one right over there that's getting ready to go get crushed again. So we're going to try to go with a little bit. I want to be able to advertise it's 10 times stronger, and I am so close.
That's awesome.
okay. I want to see the video of that when you do it.
for sure. Definitely. We need to see that.
It goes to St. Louis. I don't know how they do it, but they just have there's a company over there. That's what they do. They certify stuff, and they certify the welds and the metal and so on and so forth. And we actually got to keep a really big track record of where we buy the metal from, where the metal was made, where it came from, how long it's been since it's been manufactured. And you got to provide all that with them. No real reason. I actually first did it for insurance reasons, but other than that, now it's just, can I make it 10 times stronger?
It's a pride thing.
Yes, exactly.
I picture some guy over there in like a lab coat with a big bushy mustache, and like he crushes it, and in the end, he just like, gives the big thumbs up. He never says a word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about it, Doug and I have on the podcast, and I'm going to build a cage for mine, and I have one of your back halves on there. I am integrating your back half into my cage build. It's not coming off.
Actually, by integrating, he means we're ripping everything else off.
Everything else
we're
off.
starting with the back half.
Yes.
Building it from there.
That is cool. So a little bit about the back half cage. What it does is it basically lowers your factory cage. So guys that were chopping their cages before and butt welding them together and things like that, it works. It gets it lower. It gets it where it looks better, but you still have that ugly weld in the middle of the tube. You still have this fact that now it's even unsafer than what it was before.
Yeah, you haven't made it stronger. You made it worse.
Exactly. And this, I can send you a picture. You can maybe drop in on this point, but there's a picture where someone they chopped their cage, and they've got like ratchet straps and a forklift and a big car lift, like all pushed on their cage to get it to go back in the right way. And it's like, holy cow, guys.
If it's that bad,
that's a lot of work. Yeah.
And most people aren't welders.
Exactly.
They're grinders.
Right. Yeah.
They put metal from a wire on it, and then they grind most of it off.
So I've always been a do-it-yourself kind of guy, and I've had toy haulers my whole entire adult life, really. And that's the problem. They do not fit in a toy hauler. They do not fit in an enclosed trailer. And it's unfortunate they don't. So you're either airing down the tires, you're ratchet strapping the suspension, or you're cutting the cage to get them in there. And that was fine for my first 2 razors. That's what I did. I did that. Well, my third one was a brand new machine. It was a brand new 1000 XP. It was a 15. And I'm like, this is a brand new razor, and I'm now cut on my cage, got this ugly weld spot on it because I already had the factory Polaris roof and the windshield that came with. And I didn't want to lose that for a custom cage. And eventually I did do a custom cage on that razor. But at that time, when I thought, you know what? This piece unbolts. This is its own little section. And I got the idea then about 6 months later. It was around Thanksgiving time. I got a little bit slower in the shop, and I bent it up with the help of a buddy that also does all my promotional products. And we bent it up, and I think we did 10 of them, 15 of them maybe. Don't even know how many. Put them for sales like a Black Friday deal, and holy cow, it exploded. And I was like, wow, that was a really good idea. And after after that, I really just sit back and think about it. Like it's so functional for a lot of people, and we've only ran from that point.
Oh, it absolutely is. And like you said, it's not just the ability to put it in a toy hauler. It's not just the looks thing, because honestly, the factory cage is kind of clown car. I mean,
it's way too tall.
It just doesn't look good. But you've made it safer. It's not going to turn you into like a full race ready cage per se, but now, I mean, the weak point is back there where those joins. You've strengthened the most susceptible point of that.
You're exactly right. Basically, we gave you the roll bar around the backside of your head that is now nearly double the thickness of the factory cage, and it's the loop around the back of your head. It's the halo around your head. What's to come? It's funny you say that is because I've just in the process of getting the water jet parts worked out to get the front part of it done. So basically, I hope by this November, we are able to release the front section of the factory cage also built out of the same material.
So I may not need to build my cage at all. I'll just call Cody.
Yeah.
Procrastination for the win.
Yep.
I may just wait.
So that's what's coming is a full factory replacement cage that will be necessarily lower, and it gives you the toughness of it, essentially is what you're looking for, and it allows you to still run your factory windshield, your factory top, things like that. One thing that I want to integrate in is an intrusion bar. I think they look cool. It looks neat. It kind of gives it the race look, and it adds some safety also.
Oh, I've talked about it with Doug before. I won't run a cage without an intrusion bar. Now my current one doesn't, but I haven't built my cage yet either.
Yep.
They do help quite a bit, and it may not. My dad, he's older, obviously, and he thinks it's goofy that I put intrusion bars on my last one. And as soon as I did it, I was like, maybe they'll be in the way. Maybe I won't like them. As soon as I did it, I was like, this is the best thing ever, because stopped so many things from hitting me in the face.
Exactly. And you know what? I don't even hardly notice it. I've had them on all my razors now, on the race buggy and everything. I don't see them. I couldn't even tell you that, like, oh man, the bar's in the way. I don't even see them. I think you just kind of look through them. And
I started ignoring them quickly.
Yeah.
It's like married life. My wife ignores everything I say.
And so because you found yourself between making back half cages and running a business that's really 5 businesses, you found yourself with some free time, 10 extra minutes or so. You thought, what the heck, I'll start a race series.
Yeah, so no kidding, right?
Blood for punishment. When I put it that way, you're probably like, I've made poor life decisions.
I sure have. I love it though. You got to love this industry. This isn't an industry where you can just do if you don't love it. You have to love this industry, and I definitely do. I love the industry. I love the sport. I love where it's going, where it's heading. It's great, and that is correct. We do the Midwest Side-by-Side Series. I actually raced a couple of them last year, I guess it was, and I was like, this is really neat. And I was watching Josh Durbin just run his tail off, like literally chaos, mayhem. Like he put together the most organized by himself. He had to help with Brad a little bit, but it's tough. Like it is tough when you don't have a spouse or someone else to even help you do like sign up and stuff like that. When you're building the track and doing sign up and running the riders meeting and trying to keep track of points, and I was like, this dude's going crazy. And I
can't even imagine.
Yeah. And I seen how hard he was working at it, and I loved racing. I love the sport for sure. And I was like, you know what? I can help him with what I can bring forth with my knowledge and some of the sponsors that I could bring with me and the ability to get like caution tape and stuff like that from vendors and stuff. I was like, I can help him. And I literally just said, hey, let me help you on one of these, kind of completely donated my time. And Josh was like, you're never leaving.
Yeah, I know
you're here forever.
Once you open your fat mouth, it's game over from there.
Sometimes you don't let people know how much you know. But no.
It doesn't even matter about that. I mean, last year I said I was willing to help. Next thing I know, I'm announcing a race series. I'm like, I have no experience with this, right? But if you're a warm body and you're willing to do something, we'll put you to work.
It's great. And it's been good. It's been a lot of fun. I feel like we've got good reviews. I hope the people that are racing with us enjoy it. You always hope for a bigger car count. I hope that's to come next year. But we'll see. And I try to build tracks that I would enjoy to drive. I'm kind of a racer myself. I'm a motocross guy. I love the motocross atmosphere stuff. I love trying to integrate that into the tracks as much as I possibly can.
See, I really like that part of it where, okay, it's primarily, an XC style track that we're used to having in the Midwest here, but you do have that open motocross section where people can see, changes it up. I mean, it just changes the whole racing dynamic knowing you're coming into that section.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And watching these races, and I've really never been a hare scramble guy or a GNCC kind of guy. I really never been to much of them until I started side-by-side racing. And, my family wanted to come watch me. I was like, oh, this is kind of boring to watch. You get to see 100 feet unless you have a machine where you can kind of get through the woods and see different sections. And that's what's really good about the motocross sections is it makes it more of a spectator sport. It gives the spectators something to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I really appreciate that. And with GNCC kicking everybody out of the woods, they kind of went the opposite direction. And now it's seeming like they may not be around at all. So who knows? You may be absorbing some of that overflow because these guys aren't going to stop racing.
No, that's exactly right. We talked about that earlier. If you're going to get something, you're going to get it from somewhere or someplace. And these guys are going to race. They're going to go race somewhere. They just got to find their home to do it.
Yeah, these guys have $50,000 in many cases invested in these machines.
For sure.
And we've seen from GNCC, they don't mind traveling. So you give them a home and you show them that you're a premier racing series, they'll come.
Yeah. You give people the ability and the place to make bad decisions, and they will come and make bad decisions there.
And they will tear up a lot of parts. And one of the things we did different from any series that I know is we did a payback per points at the end of the year. We come to this and I said, what can we do to keep people with us all season? And that's something I came up with. And let's offer a payout, a decent size payout at the end of the year in points. And don't hold me this. I think it's over $1,000 for the pro class, as the overall, points champion at the end of the year. And that gives you something to go racing for.
Absolutely.
It's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Yes, exactly.
Which is what you get without intrusion bars.
Yes.
So before we get any further into this, you'll notice behind my head this lovely mural.
Yep.
And you were telling us the story beforehand. I'm like, okay, store that story because we started talking. We spent like 45 minutes, I think, talking and realized we better start recording something because all the good stuff will be gone by the time we actually do this thing.
So a little bit about me, I guess I'll back up, even farther than that. I was a racer at heart, raced as a younger kid. And then all I knew how to do was work on motorcycles. My parents were divorced. We didn't have much money growing up at all. And if a motorcycle broke, if I was going to ride, I kind of had to fix it myself. And that's kind of how it all started. And rode my bicycle to the Honda dealership. I think I was 15, and I needed a spark plug for my motorcycle. It was the very start. It was like the second day after school. I'm like, I'm going to get a spark plug. I'm going to give it tune up. That's all I knew back then. Should put a spark plug in and run like $1 million, right? Rode to the Honda dealership.
Two-stroke, that's usually a rebuild.
And the guys knew me there because I was in there all the time. I went in a goo and they said, what do you got playing this summer? I was like, ride my motorcycle, duh. What else do you do when you're 15 years old in the summertime? And they said, you want a job? I'm like, no, I'm going to ride my motorcycle. I don't want to work. And I made the mistake of telling my mom and dad at dinner time that I was at the Honda dealership day and they asked me if I wanted a job. My mom was like, you're going in there tomorrow morning when they open and telling them, yes, you want a job. So I did and started at a Honda dealership, kind of just cleaning the shop, washing bikes, and went from there and went to school for it, went to MMI down in Orlando, Florida, lived down there, loved it down there, had no desire to come home whatsoever. The economy crashed back in 07, 08. And I went from, we worked straight flat rate, booming, to sitting on my toolbox, waiting for work to come in the door. And the Honda dealership was always on me to come back home and work because I did wrench for them, all through high school when I was going to high school. So I made the move back home, started working at the Honda dealership again, and again, loved it. No complaints at all. Did a little work at home on the side for people that raced with me and neighbors and things like that. And I was actually hit by a semi in August of 2011 and spent the next month in the hospital, 7 months in a wheelchair. So I was off work for almost a year. And at that time, I realized...
man, holy cow.
The whole
I didn't realize how lucky we were to be sitting here with
you.
The
whole left side of my body has been broken, yes.
Ooh.
I was doing a test ride and I was hit by a semi while working for the Honda dealership and spent nearly a year off work because of that and learned how to walk again, the whole deal. And I was like, you know what? I can do this for myself. And I went back to work for a few months and found a building in town and kind of started from there. So when we first started, it was a really, really small shop. I was all by myself. I started to get busy right away. I opened December 1st. By the end of the January and the peak slow season there possibly could be in the motorcycle industry, like I had to hire somebody. Moved another buddy I went to school with from Florida that worked at the same dealership I did. He kind of stuck it out. I came back, moved him back up here, and it was me and him at first, and we started rocking and rolling. It was in that shop for about 2 years. This place came available. And I snatched onto it then. And by that time, I think we had 4 employees. But this wall, funny you say that, this is 2 buildings. So this is the old building behind us that we do all our shipping out of and stuff like that. It's connected with a small door, and we're in the showroom now in the new building. But I hated the ugly brick wall look that this, the showroom had. I knew a girl in town that was really graffiti nuts, and I made a phone call and I said, I've got a brick wall. I want you to graffiti, like put a motorcycle on it, put an ATV on. I don't make it look cool. So she came in one night real late at night, and this is what we got. And she boarded the window up and everything, and made it look like it was like an abandoned alley, and looks cool. It's definitely unique. Some people have got senior pictures taken in front of it and some stuff like that. So I think it's cool. It's not something you see in every motorcycle shop. So
I like the fact that she came in late at night to do it, because graffiti artists,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
they're
they
not
sleep
out there
during
like
the
2 in the afternoon. I mean,
I'm going to wake up about 7 and I'll be there by 7:15. No, that's not how they are.
no,
are they?
she's like,
not punching a clock.
I can graffiti your wall and I'll go to jail. Deal.
yeah.
And it's a way to get amazing art for, in your case, nothing. Maybe a
Yeah.
couple rattle cans.
Yeah, she did a great job, and she explained to me what they do to the tips of these rattle cans. They drill them out, they make they cut them, get them different sprays and stuff like that. So it's literally an art, And I said this earlier, but I think anybody that has a talent of any kind I'm super intrigued by that, whether it's dancing or drawing or riding a motorcycle or driving, any deep talent. I find it's incredible, and that's
Making fantastic podcasts.
Yeah, there
that
you
sort of
go.
thing.
Is that a talent? If it is, I don't think we have that talent.
So he's not impressed.
you guys do a wonderful job.
We've made it 49 episodes.
No one's come and stopped us yet.
I say mainly because the government hasn't shut us down, because there aren't any laws that I'm aware of that we're breaking.
So you made it for 49. What's for 50?
Gosh, we've made it this far without a plan. Why are you trying to do this to
Yeah,
us?
the fact that we've knocked out a couple in the same day, we're just going to take a breather probably. Well, actually, the next one's going to be right after an MWXC race, so I'm sure there'll be some talk about that, and we'll probably be back to our normal format. But we've got some other stuff in the works for later this year, towards the end of the UTV racing season, and
Yeah, we talked to Cody about a possible future plan that we're not letting out yet, but
more teasers.
I'm in. We got to get the logistics worked out on that, and I am absolutely in on that.
2019 is going to be
Off the hook.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really legitimately excited.
I am,
and it's
too.
going to be here before we know it. I'm saying I can't wait, but the way things have been going.
We're going to have to get a Street Outlaw style board, knock off the list, who.
oh yeah. Oh, that's going.
Ooh,
Yeah.
There we go. We can just keep borrowing, shall we say, from other people's ideas.
Yes. But we'll let it go at that for now.
Teasers, like I said. So yeah, we've got some interesting stuff. We've got some trips coming up, and in fact, we're going to have to divide and conquer for the first time ever.
Yep.
So we've been talking about the fact we're going down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the Southern Mud Riders, the big St. Jude's ride they do.
When is that?
That is October 28th and 29th, or 27th and 28th, whatever that weekend is, which just happens to line up right on top of GNCC Ironman.
Really?
Yes.
So we realized, I kept thinking the 27th and 28th, why does that sound so familiar? So I'm looking through the calendar, I'm like, crap. So we'd already committed, and Shane, we're coming, don't worry. I'm coming, not
He's coming.
us.
He's going.
Chad,
I'm going to GNCC.
he's going Ironman. So
I was
we're
a-
going to divide and conquer.
I was about to say I'm in, I'll go with you, but I think I'm going to go to Ironman also. So,
Are you?
See, everybody wants to go to...
I got something to talk to you about that. But yes.
We've got somebody in mind that may be interested in coming down to,
With you.
to Louisiana.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've got an idea for you for Ironman.
You need portals and 34-inch tires and
Yeah, my side-by-side's not going.
Actually, I've got something even better. You know what's better than having a built mud rig? Knowing somebody else that has one and you get to ride in it.
that is awesome. Yes, that is exactly right.
Because honestly, what are you going to do with a mud rig in Indiana? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
There's not much.
no. It's not how we ride, but that's part of the excitement, is being able to go to a completely different venue, completely different style of riding, and kind of bring that, out to everybody.
We ship a lot of engines to Louisiana.
Because they swamp them.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure
Texas.
they-
Yes.
If you
ship
get a weekend out of an engine, you're doing good.
We have this really cool board back there. It's like this United States, and how we track our cores is we put a little pin with a little tag where that core is at. And it's always funny because there's engines all over down south,
Yeah.
Oh, there's always Louisiana. Texas, Mississippi, there's just always engines down that area all the time. And you're exactly right. They just suck them full of mud.
Yep.
That's what they love to do. That's great. It is not my thing. I will drive around the mud hole. I will not ride when it's muddy. I am not a mud guy at all.
Exactly the same. I think Cody and I were cut from the same cloth.
Yeah. Everybody up here says the same thing. Oh, mud, I can drive around that.
Yeah.
There's always another route.
They're looking for the mud.
Yeah, I took someone for a ride one day, and we'd go fly through the woods really, really quick, and we get to this mud hole, and I'd slow way down and I'd go through it, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't like mud." She's like, "What do you mean? Get me muddy. That's what I want to do." And I'm like, "You're in the wrong razor for that stuff."
Well, you can get out the door, you press that little button right there, and you can go roll around in it and then get back in if you want.
Yeah,
but you're cleaning the buggy when you're done.
Exactly. That is the worst part.
Yeah. Cleaning them it takes forever.
There is no such thing as washing them once and getting them clean. Like, it is a 2 or 3 step process to get it as clean as I like to have it.
Well, I imagine on a dedicated mud buggy, you really don't want to run like full underbody protection, skid plates, and all that, because now you can't clean
that. To fall out, yeah.
Yeah, you want it to just please leave as soon as possible.
Yep.
I'm imagining SC1's a big deal down there.
Yeah. Yes, everything they can do to get that mud to fall off.
Jason Banning did something really cool. I've never seen a Heartland before, but he taped up with duct tape a lot of the holes on his machine to keep the mud out of it. Heartland wasn't really an issue with mud; it was more of a dust thing. But I could see where a muddy event. I was like, that's thinking. I was like, got duct tape holding your machine together. I was like, no, like keeps the mud out of that hole and keeps the mud out of this hole. And I'm like, dude.
And it's holding it together.
It is not your first time.
That's exactly what I would expect from a farmer.
So we touched on the mud a little bit, and this is kind of one of the questions that I've asked Doug and we've talked about. If you had the option between a mud race or a dust race, which would you take?
Ooh.
Would you rather be shot or stabbed?
Yeah, it's not good choices.
I made this comment going to Heartland, and this goes against my whole philosophy. I will race in the mud all day before the dust. A few reasons why. A, you can see. Visibility is huge. You can never get the dust to go away. You can keep the mud off your goggles with a few techniques, or not run goggles in a super mud situation because you're not going that fast. B, anybody can win a mud race. Anybody. I said this from dirt bikes to ATVs. It literally puts the playing field 100% flat. Any driver can win a mud race, and it's just luck, skill, racing technique, so on and so forth. You're going to see a guy win, they just raced the Ironman motocross this last weekend, and I've not seen who win, but I know it was a mud bath, and I knew when I seen it, anybody, it could be a privateer rider with not a huge, big sponsorship that win that race because mud is crazy. That's my answer would be mud race all day.
I'm in exactly the same boat. You just can't get away from the dust. And you can't race hard in it. I mean, I know the dirt bike guys go into a cloud completely blind and they, count to 3 and then slam on the brakes and take a corner, but that's suicidal on a dirt bike, let alone in a UTV, because you don't know if there's one stopped in the middle of that cloud.
Yes.
And getting thrown off a dirt bike's bad. 2 1,800-pound machines colliding at speed. No, thank you.
We came through the pack at Heartland, and there's a few times where we were driving in the dust, and I was going probably faster in the dust than I should have been, and we came up on the back of somebody like, boom, and they're right there, and it was, and they even had taillights, and it was so bad in some places that you didn't see the lights until literally you were on top of them, and it was all I had not to hit them in the dust, not because I was trying to hit them, they were just, boom, they were right there.
Yeah. I will say the same thing. I would much rather have the mud. As much as I'm with you, I don't like riding in the mud. I will take the mud all day long for basically the same reasons, and it kind of reaffirmed my thought on it. Last year at one of the MWXC races, one of the dirt bike guys was doing the whole riding blindly into the dust, counting down for the turn, and he ran over a fellow racer in front of him, and I held the kid's leg together until they got the airlift in. There, and it wasn't
malicious.
No,
it wasn't
he didn't do it on
intentional,
purpose.
but you can't see.
He was going so fast that he couldn't do anything about it by the time he did see him.
And that would have been the same thing with me at Heartland when I was pushing in the dust as hard as I was. If someone was out of their buggy for some reason, there's no way I would have seen them.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd take a mud race all day long because you can hose it down when you're done and everything else, but you can go through tear-offs, roll-offs. There are ways to keep your vision clear.
Yeah, you can change goggles. You can, stop and pit for goggles, whatever. You can keep your vision clear in the mud, if you really work at it. And like I said, you're not in a mud race, really, you're not going a super high speed. So, keeping goggles clean and cleared is really not a huge deal.
Yeah, it's not near as big of a deal as, you just can't see in the dust. You just flat can't see. And especially when you get at night like Heartland, when there's lights and everything else, it's even worse.
Now, you both say that now, but I've heard the grumblings after the mud race when there's 10 hours of power washing to be done.
Yes.
Now, you've raced quite a bit. You've got a history of, not just UTVs, but other types of racing as well. What's one of your craziest race stories? What's one of the just craziest things that's happened when you've been out on the track, either to you or you've observed or you've done? Or
that is a tough one, but probably my most fun races as a whole. The races that I find the most fun are the races where you had to start in the back for whatever reason. You have a bad start, you crash in the first corner, whatever, and you work your way through the pack to where you're going, because at that point you have nothing to lose. When I started off at Heartland Challenge, a lap down with a broken wheel in the very first corner, it didn't matter if I crashed it 2 laps in because I was already in last place.
True.
I wanted to finish, but I had nothing to lose at that point. It wasn't until about 2.5 hours in that I realized, okay, you have something to lose at this point. It's time to really maybe slow it down a little bit. But even racing dirt bikes, I can kind of relate to a weekend in particular that we caught a fair race on the way to a race we were going to. I went down in the first corner, worked my way all the way through the entire pack, and literally passed the guy the last corner, the last lap to win. Came from dead last to winning. And then we went on to race on Saturday at Lincoln Trail Motorsports in KZ. Same thing. Went down the first corner, started in the back, worked my way from last to first. And then on Sunday had a similar thing. Got caught up in the gate, came from the end and won. So that race stories, that's probably my favorite weekend. It was a salvage weekend every single day for me. And I've kind of performed my best under pressure where I have nothing to lose but hanging out there on the edge. And I did that,
I think it's just the natural kind of tendency of it's more fun to give chase than to be chased. Because if you're out front, you're worried about if I screw this up, I lose this place.
I hate being out front.
And you're constantly calculating how hard do I need to push to keep from getting, overtaken from behind, but keep the machine together. When you're at the back, you're just like you said, the world's your oyster. You can push hard. It's fun to chase people down and make those passes. And
you can watch the guy in front of you. And I tend to be a wheel placement person. I like to know where I'm placing my wheels. So
ruts, trees,
rocks,
stones.
Yeah.
Keep tires on side-by-sides. Yes.
It happens. But you can watch where they've run, and you can see how the buggy reacts and see if, do I want to take that line? Do I want to dart to the, it might be around the tree the other way, but is it smoother there?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And again, relating back to Heartland, but we followed Chad Duquitz, I think I say his last name. He got second in the pro class, Heartland or open class. We followed him for about 2 or 3 laps, and I had a absolute blast. We were running the same. We were running right behind him. We were running right with him. I knew he wasn't in my class. I knew who he was. I knew how good a driver he was, and literally watching his buggy, how it handled and stuff, it allowed me to be able to be right behind him because I could see how his chassis was going to react in a certain section. So I knew how mine was going to react in a certain section. I knew if he went that way, I was up on his bumper, so I should go the next. And we followed him for a few laps, and I think he finally was like, okay, guys, I'm done playing cat and mouse through the woods, and he kind of pulled over and let us go. And then he followed us for a while too, and then we kind of got a little bit of a gap on him. It was absolute a blast to chase him through the woods like that. And I would much rather be chasing than being chased.
Yeah. Well, except for that last mile.
Exactly.
Then you want to be in the front.
Yeah. We don't always get to make that choice though. But
yeah.
I've been that guy on a dirt bike where I followed the guy for, 3 laps, and it's like, okay, time to pass this guy. And then it's like, wait a second, I should try to pass this guy a long time ago because he is hard to get around. You followed him and you knew you were faster than him in a few sections, but when it's come time to pass him, it does take a little bit. And you're right. You don't want to be following across the finish line.
Yeah.
There's different schools of thoughts because the other one says, if I push this guy a little bit, will he screw up and just give me that opportunity?
I do that a lot. That is one of my, everyone kind of has their techniques. That is one of my things. I really push people. I show them wheels. I show them that I'm right there, and I've made a lot of people make mistakes. And the other one is I am the last guy to brake going in the corners almost always on dirt bikes and on side-by-sides. I work my brakes to death. I'm on the throttle till the very last second I possibly can be before I turn.
Why are you looking at me, Doug?
And
No reason.
I make up a lot of time. I will pass a lot of people going into corners because I hold on the throttle longer than they do, and that's just kind of my thing. And it's funny because at Heartland, again, relating back to this, but I broke an axle shaft, and then the wheel was so hot to touch. Like, I could hardly touch my wheel to get off because it was that hot. And I knew it was because I'm a braker. I stay on the gas till absolutely the very last second.
Well, the fastest racers out there in pretty much any sport, especially like NASCAR, like they're either full on the throttle or on the brake. Like, there's no gap between them. There's no coasting or kind of lollygagging. I mean, it's one or the other. You're either carrying speed forward or you're shaving it off to make a turn, and then you're right back into it again.
I've taken some riding classes and actually given some riding classes, and that is one of the things that I always go with over the most is you will gain the most amount of time in braking. And the way you do that is you make someone go through a corner and you watch where they hit the brakes, and you put the cone there, and you say, okay, now I'm going to set a second cone up 5 feet in front of that, and I want you to stay on the gas until that point. And then you do that. You move the cone up until they absolutely blow the corner, and you move it back about 2 or 3 feet, and you show them that, look, you were braking 10 foot before now. That's, we gained you that. Now add that on all the corners on the racetrack. I just made you 30 seconds faster a lap,
Right. And I think a lot of people don't take that analytical approach to racing where they just hope by repetition they'll get better. But the reality is if you're doing the wrong things, all you're doing is reinforcing that
Your
wrong
bad habits.
pattern over and over again.
You're exactly right. And my advice to that is to practice racing. You don't practice the whole track. You practice section at a time. If it's cornering, if it's jumps, whatever it is, you spend a day just doing that particular thing. You know, on motocross things, there's this things called corner tracks, and all you do all day long is just corner. You don't ever leave the ground ever. You do nothing but work on your corners. And, that relates to the side-by-side game so much. And if you can dial in your corners to where you can turn as fast as you can possibly turn, and now it's the next step. Now let's work on braking going into the corners, or let's work on coming out of the corner fast. Let's work on jumping and things like that. So, not practicing the whole track at once, but taking sections at a time will make you a better driver.
You mean not just blindly adding horsepower, hoping for the best?
Exactly.
Well, and we've talked about this before in previous podcasts, like steering quickeners. People say, why do you need that as a racer? And I tried to explain it to them this way. So if I'm having to make a sharp turn, you don't always need it, but a sharp turn where I'm having to, slow down and hand over hand to turn it or something like that to get around, how much time does that cost me? Now, how many laps am I doing? Now, how many corners are there like that? And like you said, all of a sudden, I've picked up 15 seconds per lap. What's the gap between me and the leader? 10 seconds. I'm now the leader.
You're exactly right.
And the other side of that, too, is when you're concentrating on braking late, you should have your braking done before you start to turn the wheel. I mean, you want to have as much speed shaved down to where you need to be. And if your thought process is, but I have to whip the wheel around versus just being able to move the wheel quickly, you're going to brake earlier.
Yep, you're exactly right. And I always say one corner, one turn, meaning when you go into a corner, you should position the steering wheel one time to a direction in your back,
Yeah.
You're not keep notching it through, one corner, one turn is what I always say.
Yeah.
Look at all this valuable racing advice people are getting. We got to get back to wasting time or we're going to totally misbill this.
We will. It'll be bad.
Well, before we get to anything totally useless, without giving out any trade secrets that'll hurt you, what's 2019 looking forward for CW? Anything on the docket, anything on the horizon that...
Yeah, we're definitely going to focus more on the side-by-side stuff. It's the game that I really enjoy right now. It's what I think is rocking and rolling and booming. And we do a lot of remanufactured engines and transmissions and differentials and the used parts. We're going to really, really push more inventory. Our marketing is going to get better in that category. We're going to push more of that stuff out the door. That is probably the look going forward. We do have a warehouse now. It's across town. We're in the process of working on something to get something a little bit closer. So everything is kind of, more right here for us.
Well, you're kind of known for your razor parts and expertise. Are you going to try and push into maybe picking up YXZ or, some of the other big name, machines out there? Or
that has been a conversation for quite some time. We do all the Polaris stuff now. Obviously there's Can-Am guys, there's Yamaha guys. I cannot answer that yet. When I am absolutely perfected the Razor game, probably. It'll probably be Can-Am next. I can say that. We have done a few things. It's the next biggest stuff out there.
Especially in XC racing like we have here.
Yeah, absolutely right. The X3s are just absolutely dominating, and I don't know if I can say it's the machine or just what people the trend people took to drive, but the X3s are great. They're doing really good. So when we venture out, the Can-Am stuff will be next.
I'm not saying it's why they named it, but I've had this running theory that the third letter of the alphabet is C. So X3, XC, they had a plan. They knew what they were doing.
Maybe.
Unlike us.
They'll let you think that anyway.
We don't have a plan.
No.
We do have trivia.
We have trivia.
Are we at that point? Can we skip this? Can we keep talking so I don't have to do this?
No.
There's
This is the real reason people come for this show.
There is one thing in this world I'm great at, and that's motorcycle and side-by-side stuff. And there's not much else I'm really that valuable at. So,
I'm sure Chad picked nothing but motorcycle and side-by-side trivia. Engine-related trivia.
So anyone ready for a good laugh? Here we go.
And you get to go first.
Yep. We'll have Cody answer first and then Doug.
You're like you know everything about everything.
It's not an against thing. You're fighting the trivia.
Okay.
You're not fighting
Yes.
each other.
It's a friendly competition.
Yeah.
Where we're really fighting is Chad and his terrible trivia.
I said to Doug before, I don't even know where I find this stuff. Some of it is amazingly stupid.
One of the things he came up with is what is the smelliest chemical, basically, known to man.
I think the one where how was it? What state walks to work the most?
Yeah.
And it was Alaska. We'll be randomly talking to people and I'll be like, hey, I got a question for you. I use that when it is mind-boggling to me.
You don't use his one about like the longest poo recorded on record or whatever. You don't use that one.
You know how long that is? I do know.
Just go on with your trivia. We're not doing this now.
All right. Question number 1. What company was formerly known as Computing, Tabulating, and Recording Company?
Mac.
NCR.
No, it was IBM.
Is IBM? Oh, okay.
It was IBM.
I was thinking National Cash Register because they're big time into that.
You're like the IT guy. She should have had that one.
I agree. Cody not knowing that is completely fine. You not knowing that is not acceptable.
Do not go back as far as like mechanical adding machines. That's a little before
Punch
my time.
cards?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I know this is getting gray, but I'm not quite there yet.
I got more gray. Not because...
I keep it shaved so that don't happen.
Yeah.
That's plan B.
Question number 2. What tribe did Sitting Bull belong to? The initial look on Cody's face was like, why the heck would I even need to know this?
I absolutely have I don't even know any tribes to be able to even spitball a guess off of that one. So, Doug, go ahead.
I know this is wrong, but I'm going to say Potawatomi.
No, it is the Sioux tribe.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as you said it, I'd be like, oh, yeah, because I've watched documentaries, but yeah, there's only room for so much stuff in my
obviously
head.
didn't pay attention to your documentary.
No, they were probably like during school.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
No one
I know
pays
you're not going to
attention.
give me grief about paying attention
No.
to school.
There's stories about me in school. Those are for another time.
Have those been unsealed by the courts yet?
Oh, yeah. They're
Okay.
fine.
That's funny because I always tell people, like, I barely passed high school. Like, barely passed
I had to
high
take
school.
economics 3 times. The third time was in night school. I paid the night school teacher $50 for the answers to all the tests. So,
What have I done wrong with my life that this is the company I keep?
went to college and graduated top of my class. How that happens, I guess it's just do what you love.
yep.
Exactly.
All right. Question number 3. What material are fingernails made out of?
Bone.
There's actually
Yeah, it's a material.
there's a name.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's like, we make it. It's not like manufactured, obviously. I'm not talking about like your Lee press-on nails.
Oh, okay. Not my fake nails?
No.
Okay. Chitin sounds right, but I can't swear to that.
You're close. We'll give you a quarter of an internet point. It's keratin.
Keratin.
Yes.
Okay. Quarter of an internet point.
A quarter of an internet point.
1/4 more than I have. So you're doing all right.
Okay. Question number 4. Which food is so rich in carbon that German scientists have been able to turn it into diamonds?
Is this a such thing?
Yes.
A food.
Uh-huh. I will give you this. It is a common food that everyone knows. So it's not some like rare,
Like, I'm trying to. I'm gonna go with the most common meat, like steak.
Steak and a diamond seems like a huge waste to me.
They're both so great, though.
I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna pick a vegetable. Let's.
It would make sense.
Brussels sprouts.
Peanut butter.
Wow.
Peanut butter has enough carbon. German scientists have turned it into a diamond.
That also seems like a waste because peanut butter is awesome. I have
It
no
is.
use for diamonds.
That wrapped in chocolate, Reese's Cups. Oh.
Just picturing like biting down something's hard and pull a diamond
There's a
out.
diamond in my Reese's Cup. Okay. Question number 5. Name the flavors of the Fruit Loops cereal. They are the colors are yellow, blue, green, orange, red, and purple.
All those.
Yes.
Purple is grape. Red is cherry. Green is green apple. What other colors is there?
Did you say orange? Yeah.
Orange. I'm gonna say oranges and orange.
Okay. Blue and yellow are the two you haven't got yet.
Blue would be blueberries. Yellow, banana.
Okay. Douglas?
Just run down the list.
Yellow?
We'll go lime or not lime. Lemon. The other fruit.
Okay. Blue?
Blue raspberry.
Green?
Lime.
Orange?
Orange.
Red?
I'll go cherry.
Purple?
Grape.
You are both wrong. They're all actually the same flavor, just dyed different colors.
That's a trick question. What's up with that?
I believe that because I've eaten them. I thought there was like some subtle, like if you ate them individually. I just figured it was just the mash of all of them.
I'm a banana guy, so I went home and
That's so
picked all the
disappointing.
yellow out of there and be like, oh, I'm gonna banana cereal tonight.
Yeah.
That's so disappointing.
I'm sorry. That was a trick question.
Oh, my
It's
life.
like M&Ms. I feel like the blue ones are better, but they're the same. They're newer
feel like
because the blue ones didn't exist. So, and I'll say this. This is my craziness. The blue ones were added to the M&M lineup, like what, around 90 something or 2000,
So
right?
Yeah.
So fun fact on M&Ms, and down in Florida they have stores that strictly it's all they sell is M&Ms, and you can go in there. It's like a wall of M&Ms, and you can pick what color M&Ms you want.
You could get a bag of blue ones.
Yes, you could, because the
So-
blue ones are better than the green ones. You know.
Well, my reasoning is that brown one or that green one could have been at the bottom of the giant M&M barrel, and it could be a really old one. That blue one has the potential to be newer.
There you go.
This is why I never trust your logic on pretty much anything.
Foods,
Anything. Period.
month-old donuts that I ate.
Yeah.
and-
I've seen what you eat, or more to the point, what you're willing to eat. So I don't know why you're picky about
doesn't
the age
bother
of an
me.
M&M all of a sudden.
Whatever. Okay.
He can make a bomb banana bread, though. By the way, I stole a loaf of that.
Oh, that's
and
fine.
Still eating on some of that from Harlan.
How has it lasted this long? If I had stolen a loaf, it would have been
Oh,
gone by the time we got
Like
home.
I was legitimately concerned Doug was going to OD on banana bread on the way to Heartland Challenge.
It's like a little slice and a glass of milk before I go to bed every night. And I have like this much. Maybe tonight will be the last piece. So,
I can make you more banana bread. It's
you know those
okay.
beadlocks I said I was going to give you? It's actually going to cost you some banana bread.
Bread. Done.
That seems fair.
Done. All right, moving on. Question 6. What does the Secret Service carry with them of the presidents at all times in their motorcade?
This is something that the president has, or
Had, yes. I mean, it's his.
Now, when you say his, is it because he's the president, or is it like, does it change? Is it something personal of each?
No, it's that president who's the current sitting president.
Because they're the president that they have this thing.
Yes.
I'm going to go. I don't know the official name, but it's probably some document saying that this guy is legitimately the president, not some phony.
Douglas?
A cyanide pill. Because I want that to be true.
No.
Just in case.
They carry several bags of his blood.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep.
that if he's shot or
Emergency
wounded in some way,
transfusion.
they can do
I've
an
heard
emergency
that.
transfusion right there.
Yep, I have heard that.
Neat.
There you go. Okay.
So, okay. Not going to put any thoughts out there. Moving on.
I can clone the president if I get through the Secret Service and get his blood. No.
Details.
Do we need 2 Trumps? Is that really what this world needs?
I don't think we need 2 of any of the
I need
last number of
I
presidents.
need
I'll put
no
it that
more
way.
steel tariffs. So
I
Yeah.
agree.
No crap and kidding.
Okay. Question number 7. What do most Japanese schools lack that American schools have?
it's the I think I've like lunch, like food. It's the
Douglas?
American students.
That's true, but that's not what we were going for.
Doesn't
here.
matter. I'm right.
They don't have janitors.
Gross.
They do have lunches, though. But they don't have janitors. They make the children clean up the school so that they have respect for it.
Love that plan.
Me too. That actually
think
is
it's great.
very, very good.
You wouldn't have done it when you were in high school. Come on.
I wouldn't have done it. I would have been the
But you
problem
like it
child.
now.
I like the thought of it.
But if you did it at an early age, you knew that was all you knew you had to do for you to go home.
Right.
In high school wouldn't have been a problem.
Well, they've taken all that away from the kids now. I mean, it used to be if you had some sort of detention or something along those lines, you had to clean chalkboards or
Tell me about
go help
detention,
the
yeah.
custodian out and do something like that. Not anymore. They will not make the kids do anything because they're worried about lawsuits or something. So
Yep.
yeah.
I was the janitor's best friend in high school.
Hey, Cody, back again.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's just me.
All right, question number 8. Tortoise blood was once a popular choice for what? Like a
Right.
usage
Writing,
for writing, okay? So then substitute for an ink,
yes.
okay?
I'm not even creative enough to come up with a really as a soup base.
For mouthwash.
Ew.
God,
What in the world?
I have to know where you get these questions from at some point. If that is one thing I figure out from you from our relationship of knowing each other, I will figure this out.
I can point you in websites. You may not want that in your browsing
you don't
history.
want to go there. Just let me be the buffer. Just let yeah. Okay.
Okay. Question number 9. What percentage of millennials have no money saved for retirement?
100?
That's pretty good.
That was my first thought.
94?
I'll go 89.
66. They're actually
Wow,
better,
they're
than
better
you guys
than we
got them
thought.
credit for.
So next time they complain about having no money, I'm going to call BS on that
Yep.
because they would have you all believe that they're completely bankrupt and
Well, they're probably honestly taking like our tax money and putting that back for their retirement in some way.
well, and honestly, there's a lot of good millennials out there. I don't
There
mean to
are,
disparage,
yes.
but all you hear about is the crappy ones on the news. You never hear about the ones that are doing stuff.
It does make hiring employees tough, but there are some, when you get a good one, you get a very good one.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Question number 10. Last one. How big is the largest diamond ever discovered?
Like in carats or pounds or size of a baseball.
I have in carats, and I also have in a unit of measurement.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 10 foot in circumference. I have no clue how big a carat that would be.
I don't know carats.
1. No.
1. Doug shooting low so that he did not overshoot. No.
I'll guess in carat weight just for laughs. Was this rough cut or
It is. Yes, this is rough.
Okay.
It is not a finish.
because they
cut.
lose a lot of it?
Oh yeah.
Because they lose like probably a third of it. 2,200 carats.
It is 4,000 kilometers across, 10 billion trillion carats. It is the remnants of a collapsed star in space.
Wow, that's huge. We need to get that so we
I'm
can
really
all.
not amused with that answer at all.
100 feet or whatever, 10 feet. Cody says 10 feet. No.
No,
A few
no.
more than that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess I should have clarified. Is this a terrestrial object or not?
I just said the largest diamond ever discovered.
I know.
So we just did trivia, and I only got beat by a quarter of an internet point by Doug. I think I'm doing all right.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
I got to admit, you have been the master of the obscure lately.
How did Kevin do?
He beat me by a quarter of a point. I think I had a quarter and he had a half or something like
Yeah.
that. It was pretty bad.
He got 2 1/4 of an internet point, I believe.
Yeah, and that was really just because we were feeling nice because he was the guest.
Yeah.
So you'll have that. We do have another stupid stuff
I
with
have
Chad.
I have several of them. There was my recent
really-
mowing activity.
It's really hard to top the one from episode 48 that we just did, but I'll allow you to pick. You can do the mowing one,
Let's do my mowing one, and then we'll do save the visual one for next time that I have the video of.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this one's kind of quick.
Yeah, it's
but
pretty
amusing.
quick. It is. So I was mowing this week. My yard has a massive mole problem. I don't know if you guys have the moles over here, but these little potatoes with legs are just digging my yard to no end. And they're fat suckers. I don't know how they've gotten so fat. I don't know if my kids are feeding them or what's happening. But, so I'm mowing, and there's all these molehills, and I'm running them over with the mower as I'm mowing. As I make another pass by, I see the hill start to push back up. Like, stupid little sucker's down there, and he's doing it now. I jump off the mower, and I kick right where the thing's coming up. And this mole is like, he's all stunned because I've just kicked him in the head. So I'm like, stupid thing, I'm doing you in now. I kick him again, boot right out across the road. Mr. Mole is now across the street in the cornfield. So that's how I get rid of moles. I just kick them.
Punting moles.
My mole punt. Yeah.
See Chad running around his yard, stomping on it.
I didn't.
His neighbors be like, "Who is this crazy man
He's out here
outside?"
kicking the yard.
Do we need to rename this segment Ridiculously Cruel Things with Chad?
I have no problems with moles. Go dig. I got
Well, no, if you're
like
punting them
98
across the road, I'll bet you don't.
He's great now. I got 90 acres. Go dig in the cornfields. Go do whatever. Stay out of my yard. That's all I got. Stay out of my yard. I'm that grumpy old man. Get off my grass.
You really, really entirely are. I need you to come over to my place because I've got a massive mole problem and my dogs are worthless. I was like, I figured eventually they'd try and dig them up or, no, they've done nothing.
Yeah. This was a big one. He was like,
Maybe
he
I
was
need
the
to-
size of a giant baked potato with little feet.
Maybe I need to feed them less and get them a little hungrier for that kind of action.
Yeah.
Of course, now we're going to have PETA calling us that you're punting moles and I'm starving my
I
dogs.
relocated the mole.
Yes.
I just relocated him.
Think of all that room he has in that huge 300-acre field across the road.
Yep. Have fun over there, buddy. You come back, I'm kicking you again.
So I just realized how horrible this is, but we always do the worst possible story we can do, and then we thank our sponsors. we
do.
We really need to front load the sponsors because, wow.
Before we do that, I want to touch on something here. So
Yeah.
everybody likes free stuff. That's what it's, everybody likes free stuff. So
Absolutely.
if you've made it all the way to this point in the podcast and you like it, share this podcast. I'm going to give away a CW Low Pro cage or $100 gift card to someone, and I'll just put all the names in, do like a little Wheel of Fortune.
Holy
and
cow.
pick probably, let's just say 3 days after the podcast airs. So like this podcast,
Jenny,
share this podcast.
share the-
That's his wife.
Give some free away, yeah. So
that is extremely awesome of you.
Thank you. That's
Thank
a
you.
surprise to us. We didn't know he was doing this. So
no, and I enjoy what you guys do, and I love the publicity, and it's great. I absolutely love it.
We appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you've done, coming behind us and supporting us in what we're doing. And I mean, just can't say thank you enough for everything.
And I'm not used to people being nice to me when Chad's around, so
Or they're nice to him because they're like, oh, you put up with that. Eesh.
everyone thinks we're brothers, which is the really funny part. And so I just tell them you're my special needs. Yeah, I take care of them, and
I have a friend like that too. It's all right.
I would get him off the short bus every day.
But in all seriousness, thank you so much. That is
Yeah.
awesome. And
No
somebody out
problem.
there is going to be very, very happy with that,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
It's funny. I said, what are you going to do when you hit 50? Because when I hit 100, I gave away the 100th cage, just gave it away. And then I was like, I'll do that again. And 200 came and went, and 300 came and went. And I knew we were in the upper fours, we're going to do it at 500. Well, guess what? 500 came and went. So
Yeah.
we'll give one
Oh,
away
man.
today. That's awesome.
Awesome.
This is a retro
Yes.
giveaway for the
Yep,
500.
Yep. And if you don't have no use for a low pro cage, we will do a gift card. So
Man, you can't beat that. All you got to do is sit here
Or-
and listen to us babble.
Tell your wife, look, I've got this low pro cage. I have to go buy a razor for it.
there you go.
There's always a way around.
Maybe.
I
I've done
always say the razor is the cheap part. It's everything else.
That's like reverse kill the Pope there.
Yeah, it is.
All right, to the rest of our sponsors, of course, Watch Communications, who hosts this whole mess, and the website. We thank you so very much for that. You can still get a free month, well, not a free month, but a 10% discount off of your first month of hosting.
That is different.
Free, first. They're very similar.
Yes.
But yes, you can get 10% off your first month of hosting by using the code Waste of Time, all lowercase, no spaces. We also have TGM Off-Road, UTV-Doors.com, UTV Engineering, CW Motorsports, where we are right now, Spangs Fab, and Harrison Power Sports up there in Harrison, Michigan.
Yep.
And you can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com, on Instagram at Eminent Racing, on Facebook /Eminent Racing. And you can find this mess of a podcast on our YouTube channel. Just look for Eminent Performance. And you can also find it on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher.
That's all of them. You found them.
I always thought you had a cheat sheet for that. Unless you have one that I can't see, you nailed it.
I did for a while because we started like rolling on sponsors, which really surprised me. And I was like, I didn't want to forget anybody, but I've done this enough.
He's done it 48 other times.
You said you like people with skills. This is the skill. That's it. That's all you get.
He can recite a list that he made months ago.
I never said it was a good skill. It was just a skill.
Yep.
But hey, thanks a lot for coming down the shop, guys. Really appreciate it, and hope you enjoyed the tour. And until next time, Steve, I'm coming for you.
Oh yeah, we've had an absolute blast out here.
Yep.
And no matter what kind of small animal you've abused, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.